Today I'm playing with this kit, customizing the bears in it to represent the zodiac signs. A few months back, I was reviewing crafting kits recommended to me by Amazon, and I had one similar to this that I truly enjoyed. So today I thought I would get the bigger set and see what I could do. Let me start by showing you this crafting kit I got. It says Backpack Bear Painting Kit. So weird since they don't have backpacks. According to me, they have little purses. Anyhow, there's certainly a lot of ways you can paint these, and I find that to be so cool. The kit supposedly comes with everything you need, so when you open it, of course, there's paint. But this have been through some rough times apparently. You have the bears, which are actually well packed, some brushes, varnish, and I honestly don't know if this will be enough. Mini painting palettes and a plastic apron. Oh, and a display thingy. I didn't even try the paints because it was a spilled, dried mess, so sadly, straight to the trash. Here's our first bear. And I remember them bigger, but no, same size. Here's one of the ones I customized a few months ago. Just like last time, I thought I would customize the base of the bear a little with clay before painting them. Maybe this would help them fit into the zodiac better. So I started removing the little purse and sanding them on the areas where they were chipped. Then, with air dry clay, I added different stuff to them. So, for example, on this one, I replaced the tiny strawberry purse with the little fish. The next one received a crown and a flower. And even though this first modeling step took me the whole entire first day of working on this project, I'm going to speed through it because I think it's going to be nicer to see what I added to each bear as I paint them. Also, now that I'm reviewing the footage and that the project is done, I'm sure you could make each bear represent a sign of the zodiac by just painting them and not adding anything else with clay. But this is what I did. So this one has a flame on its head. This one's supposed to have water coming out and splashing. This one has a tail on its head. It lost an ear, but I just glued it back together. This one has some horns. The next one has a moon and the sun. You get the idea. I just added little things to make the signs fit a little bit better. So that was the entirety of day one working on this project. I honestly did not think it was going to take this long, but let's just skip ahead to day two, the exciting part, which was even more exciting because Ohuhu sent me new acrylic markers for this project. I was so happy about this because since I've worked on these before, I know the paint markers are definitely a game changer in painting tiny little things with many details. They sent me two sets. This one has round points in two sizes. So excited about those fine nibs. And then the other set is all brush nibs, which I simply adore. These ones you just shake a bit and they are ready to go. So here comes the first bear, and I'm going to start with the water signs. Let me show you how these pens work. You shake and then push down and out comes the ink. Here in Ecuador, because of the altitude and the air pressure, I always get a little leakage, but it's just a tiny bit. It wasn't bad at all, and as you can see, I can just go writing and paint my entire bear with the marker. Nice and easy and mess free. But this time around, I'm not painting 4 tiny bears, but 12. So I thought I would save some time by grabbing a large brush and just smothering each bear with the base color of acrylic paint. So now we have a solid color on, and it's time for the fun. This is what I like best, adding the details. And I have to tell you, I was winging each sign. At first, I thought I would sketch an idea for each one of them, but once I started using the clay, I just decided to do things on the fly. So, blue 4 pieces. Perfect base to add all the fishy details. And of course, my markers allow me to be faster and more precise. As I added tiny fish scales in different colors, I was happy to just switch markers and not have to deal with mixing paint and using and cleaning tiny brushes. This is way faster and easier. Kept me motivated throughout this long 4-day painting process. If I tried to do this with brushes and acrylic paint, it would have taken me forever. I also added a few circles representing bubbles on the side. They're coming from the fish-shaped purse. I also did tiny watermarks around its eyes and then added highlights to the bubbles and used white to do more scales and details. And after adding the eyes, this is my first bear completed. I was really happy with this first one, and I was ready to move to the second water sign, which is Scorpio. This is my star sign. And for Scorpio, I chose a black base because I've seen a lot of stuff saying how drawn to the mystical Scorpios are. So black it is, and I wanted the scorpion tail on its head to be red, but that seemed too bright, so I ended up mixing 3 markers to paint that part. Another plus for these juicy paint markers is that you can definitely blend with them. Perfect color. Now I wanted that black hoodie to be like the cosmos, so I started adding stars to it. That's why I sculpted its spurs in the shape of a crescent moon, which I then colored with the metallic markers that came in the bullet point marker set. I also added metallic stars all over, and I did try to have the Scorpio constellation in the back, but you can't tell it's there, it just looks like dots. To top it off, I added some white stars and a little bit of gold on its cheeks, and here is the bear for Scorpio. Which leads us to the third water sign, and that is Cancer. For Cancer, I had sculpted a little crab as a purse and gave the bear a sailor's hat. So I thought it would be fun to paint it in a blue gradient to symbolize the ocean, and then the bear would be brown like the sand. Then of course I did all of the details with my paint markers, adding lots of blue and white, keeping to the nautical theme. I wanted the area where the hoodie joins the bear to look like the seashore, so I used my markers to create that effect. Then I painted the ice blue and drew a tiny anchor on its collar. So cute. And again, this is something I don't think I would have been able to do with a brush, and that's it. Here's the bear to represent Cancer. That was the end of day 2, and on day 3 I started to do the earth signs, starting with Capricorn. So being an earth sign, I gave it a green base, and I struggled a bit deciding on how to do Capricorn because the animal that represents it is a sea goat. Isn't that something? So because of that, I gave it some horns and I made the purse into a seashell. So it's a mix of the land and the ocean. To support this combination, I drew a lot of scales on its hoodie. I also added a pattern of scales and tiny plants on the edge of the hoodie. Remember, I'm just making all of this up as I go, which I guess is why it took me 4 days to paint all of them, even though with editing it sure doesn't look like it. I used some brown for the horns, but they also received some scales to tie it all together. At the end, my hand slipped and I ruined the eyes, but I fixed them by painting a larger green circle around and then black on top. And that is Capricorn. Next we have Virgo. And for this one, I wanted to go super feminine with pinks and flowers, so a purplish magenta for the base. And this is the only bear on which I left the original strawberry purse on, because I felt somehow it fit. I only added the clay flowers on top, used the paint markers on top of those, and I added a flower motif to all of the hoodie. It was really easy to do because of the fine tips, so I painted a combination of 2 types of flowers that I think made it super precious. Last earth sign is Taurus. And for this one, I went with brown for the base layers, and I wanted a little bit of a tribal feel. So the first thing I did was grab my brown marker and do all of these markings around its hoodie, just playing with shapes and lines. When those were done, I painted the horns and then used green for the leaves on its head and purse. I continued the tribal marks through the hoodie onto his face, and I also added a little feather coming down from the strap of the purse. Added some lines to the leaves to make them fit my theme, and this is how the bull came out. I really love this one, might be one of my favorites. Next were the air signs, starting with Aquarius. For this one, I chose a light blue base and then started using different shades of blue to paint the details. As I was painting it, I was thinking about listing these 12 bears for sale on my page, but looking at this one with the water sprouting from the top, I was first worried about how fragile these are and if they would survive shipping. Then I thought these are so tiny and the shipping from Ecuador would be $25 at least, so no, it's not an option to sell these, I'm gonna keep them. So I thought maybe it would be fun to make stickers out of them. So I've started to draw them in my style, and the idea is to open a storefront with stickers and other goodies soon. I'm slowly working on that, so please definitely let me know if I should have stickers for all of these bears in the shop. I think most of them are just cute and not necessarily super tied to their sign, so it would be a cute series of stickers to collect. Anyhow, I continue to work on Aquarius, making the water drops more apparent by using a darker blue and adding white highlights. And I also added some watermarks on its face. Then I painted the base thing with silver to make it more apparent, and after adding a few more details with white, here's how Aquarius turned out. Second air sign is Gemini. I wanted it to be in a way like split in the middle to symbolize the twins. This is why on this one I removed the purse completely and added twin birds on each side. I wanted it to be symmetrical. To support the symmetry, after I laid down my base color, I went over half of it with my markers with a different shade of the same color. And at first I thought about doing this on the face and the body as well, but it looked too much like a harlequin, so I changed it back. I didn't know how to make it look better, so I just added some hearts and I started to randomly paint some of the details on top. While doing this, I thought maybe it would be a good idea to add white polka dots all over to unify both sides of the twins, and after finishing its face, that's it for Gemini. I'm not sure how well it represents the sign, but it's definitely a cute one. Okay, next we have Libra. So Libra is all about balance, right? But I wanted to stay away from the typical rendition of the sign with the scales on it. So I thought I would depict balance by using night and day. So half of it is going to be purple and half of it pink. Of course, the sun is on one side and the moon on the other. For this one, I did stick to the idea of having half of the face and body lighter than the other to go with the colors of the hoodie. I thought I would join both sides by painting clouds with pinks and purples all over, keeping to the sky theme I had already chosen. Also, of course, I painted the moon and the sun, and at first I wanted them to both be yellow, but I ended up using metallics for both of them. When that was done, I kept adding details with pinks and purples, just giving it a little bit more of a personality, and that was it for Libra. And finally, we have reached the fire signs. Leo is first, and in case you're wondering, this is day 5 of working on this project. Imagine if I didn't have the markers, how long this would have taken, at least double. Okay, the last stretch. And I gave Leo a crown and replaced its purse with a flower, because when I was sculpting it, I thought the lion's mane could be represented by a hoodie full of florals. I used warm colors for all of the flowers and for all of the details, and this was actually one of the fastest one to paint because the crown did so much for the piece. So that's it, Leo was done. Then we have Aries. I don't know why I think this is like the ultimate fire sign. Maybe because both my parents are Aries and my mother is the OG boss babe. She's a force to be reckoned with for sure. Anyhow, because of this, I painted it red. I started to make the face brown, but it was looking too much like my beloved Pooh, so I changed it to black. My collection definitely needed a black bear, and now it looked like a character from Squid Game. No worries, I left it and I decided to trust the process. So I continued by using my paint markers to make the blob on top of its head to actually look like a flame. I also painted tiny flames on the side of its eyes and all around the bottom of the hoodie. This bear made me so thankful again for having these markers to create the design, saving tons of time for sure, and the control of the nib and ability to paint over mistakes is really the best. I'm sure this would have taken me 8 days to do with little brushes and paint. This is much more enjoyable. I really love painting the flames, and when those were done, I painted the ram-shaped purse and gave it a little heart in the middle. So that's Aries, and I really loved how it turned out. Next fire sign is Sagittarius, and for it I also wanted to use warm colors, so I did a gradient with pink and orange for the base and used that brown that got rejected for Aries. After that, I had no clue what to do with it, so I just started to add dots on the hoodie to make it glittery. I have a tutorial on how to color glitter with acrylic markers on this video if you're interested. I'll post a link for it in the description. So yes, created that illusion with a lot of dots and used purple to paint the rest of the areas of the bear. For this one, I sculpted a heart with an arrow going through and a horseshoe purse to represent the archer. Then added details with white and used that white to finish the glitter effect. And here it is, done. That is it. Here are all my beautiful bears. I love them lined up like this in a rainbow order instead of calendar order. And it was a long project, but the end result was definitely worth it. Can't wait to know which one is your favorite. Here they are on the display thingy that came with the set, and that is it. If you'd like to see me transform more objects, check this playlist right here. I really enjoy changing things with a little paint. With that, I hope you're having the most wonderful day and that I'll see you next Friday. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.